Good morning, everyone. I love the star wipe. Star wipe.
Yep.
Welcome to Dev Chat here at Privateer Press for October 23rd.
It is, according to the screen, the 23rd.
October 23rd.
It's not the 14th, although it might be. Might be stuck there.
It's not.
Can never leave.
We're your dev team. I'm Will Hungford, lead developer, and this is my boss, Oz Schoonover, development manager.
Hi.
And we are here to talk to you about some cool things happening in WARMACHINE.
Things.
Before we get started, let's talk about the stream schedule. So if you've never joined us before, every Wednesday we stream at 10 a.m. for the Dev Hangout, where we, the dev team, come on and talk about Riot Quest, Mompoc, WARMACHINE, or any other games we're working on, and tell you rules, give you cool spoilers, whatever's going on. Then on the hobby side of things, Jordan Lamb runs Thursday show, Get Your Paint On at 10 a.m., where he paints the models and goes over hobby tips and tricks.
And we have a second seat now for Tony so far, but maybe other guests in the future will get on there and paint with Jordan.
Yes, exactly. And that's been really cool innovation by Tony. We also play games and do live battle reports. That's our staff showdown. Those don't happen weekly. We just did recently for WARMACHINE.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be November 19th. And we also have a semi-regular show, Hobby Hangout with Danny Samuels, where he goes over creating terrain conversions and stuff like that. The next one is on October 25th.
Yeah, and the reason there's such a big gap, because we played on the 14th or 15th, and the next one's November 19th, over a month, is because Warfare Weekend's coming up, and we're going to be out of the office, especially with streaming gear, is going to be out of the office for a little while.
Yeah.
So there won't necessarily be a Wednesday dev stream for a couple weeks. Is it 2 weeks, Tony?
We will be out of our regular schedule for 1 week.
For 1 week.
For just 1 week.
Yep.
But we'll be back.
And we're going to talk about next week's stream later on, because next week's Dev Chat is one you do not want to miss. This one's also going to have some cool previews of what that's going to be. Let's real fast go through the mini crate models, because there's one very apropos new mini crate model. Non-metallic Newman Aurora is now available until November 19th. Also, the Trancer Dancer is still the VIP model, so if you do a 6-month sub, you will get the Trancer Dancer in your next shipment. That new Aurora is just amazing.
Yeah, just like normal Angel Aurora.
Yeah, just normal
Angel Aurora.
Just normal Angel Aurora. Yeah. Over on the Legend of the Five Rings side of things, Mr. Akoto is currently available, and the VIP model remains Sadako, and that's still available until November 5th on both of those. For the Savage Mini Crate, the works of Robert E. Howard, El Borak is also available till November 12th, and King Conan you have till January 12th. So still plenty of time, but time on him is starting to run out.
We're around halfway.
Yep. So let's talk about today's show. But before we do that, Tony, I faked you out. I lied. Let's talk about subscriptions.
We got one already. Eric Ray. Was it Eric Ray or was it Eric K? I can't always read the fine print over there. But we got a Twitch Prime subscription, which is my favorite kind of subscription.
Yeah. Epic Cray.
Epic Cray. Okay.
Epic Cray and I speak in the WARMACHINE Discord often. But those of you who don't know, there is a WARMACHINE Discord. I think you can find links on like Reddit, stuff like that. And Epic Cray often I talk about Lucas. He's a big Crucible Guard fan. And Epic Cray, kind of just very happy with Lucas and doesn't want any changes to him. And so we just talk about that constantly. We are taking subscriptions. If you want to show some love and support, you can sub to us on Twitch. As we get more subs, we will get more emojis. You unlock a series of emojis as soon as you sub. As soon as we get 100 subs, we will unlock the Mompoc Donut Factory, the next one.
And we have 2 emojis that aren't even on the screen right now because Tony hasn't updated the images. There's 2 chibis, Eris and Ashlyn. People are throwing them up in the chat. You can see them on Twitch.
Yep.
But yeah, we've already increased the number of emojis, and when we get 100, we're going to add the Donut Factory.
Yep. Cool. So let's actually go back to what we're going to talk about.
And now,
what we're talking about today, real fast, we're going to go through all the models hitting stores this Friday, all the WARMACHINE Hordes models, and we covered this in a dev chat prior, so we're just going to put their cards up and just remind all of you.
Yeah.
Then we showed off some of the new Riot Quest models that are coming up, Boss McHorn, Weird Wendell. We showed the rules for Weird Wendell and a couple others, but we hadn't shown Boss McHorn's WARMACHINE rules yet. So we're going to show you and talk about Boss McHorn's in testing rules that'll be coming out when she comes out for WARMACHINE. The Riot Quest stuff's already been spoiled. And then we're going to talk about when the next CID starts, which is really soon. And
We've got a little while.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about what it's about, and then we're going to show you concept art for one of the models that's in the CID that no one would ever, in a million years, ever guess.
I don't know. Somebody might.
There's 0% chance anyone would ever guess we're doing it.
What if they were close and they got like part of the idea?
There's no way. When I saw it, I was like, what the hell?
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then this will not be a full CID coverage. We will talk about CID on next week's dev chat. So we'll get all to that in a second. Let's start at the beginning and go from there.
Models,
So
new models.
This is just a quick run through everybody. This Friday at your local game store, the following models are hitting if you're looking to pick them up. So we've got Alexia the Undying is showing up. I think we're gonna have the card pop up on the screen.
It's popping up right now.
That was my cue to Tony. Tony was just he's just nodding at me.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
So Alexia,
Tony, are you coming to Warfare Weekend?
Yeah, we're streaming.
I'll be there.
For those of you that watch the streams, and if you've never met Tony and want to shake the hand of the best looking man at Privateer Press and the one that makes the streams happen, come see him at Warfare Weekend.
I'm sure someone is bringing him a gift from Chicago this year, as always.
Oh no.
Anyway.
No.
I forgot to ask. I got to put out a request.
Yeah. So Alexia the Undying will be a lot more interesting to play once the Legion of Lost Souls comes out.
Absolutely.
Because she buffs up undead stuff, but she can still make her warrior thralls like she's always been able to do, so she can get some undead on the table in her army even without those guys. And I don't remember if they're a January or February release.
I think they're
I feel like they're January because I feel like we just solicited them.
Yep.
But yeah.
Next up in stores this Friday will be Grandmaster Gabriel Throne.
He's got the hardest name to say.
It's old GMGT.
Yeah.
So if you want to run some GMGT, if you're playing Flames of the Darkness, you're grabbing this model.
Yeah.
He'll be available.
And,
also just a beautiful looking model.
He was in that live stream that Faye and Lauren played. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was also on the Gen Con live stream we did last Friday.
Yeah.
Next up, I don't remember the order we had them in, so Tony will pop it up for me. The Order of the Illumination and Vigilance.
Yeah.
Glenn Cormier is not out yet. She obviously makes them better, but they are definitely a viable choice. You can play with them now. They'll just get a little bump in power whenever she shows up.
Yeah, and if you're playing some sort of RPG and want one of those classic, witch hunter, vampire hunter kind of vibe models, these guys have that look to them. The one guy's got the sweet hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up would be, I believe, one of the Archons, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Thamorite Archon, and then we can go ahead and pop over to the next one. The Thamorite and the Void Archon are both dropping.
Yeah.
So we know that these two have been highly anticipated.
Yeah.
Especially the Void Archon.
And the Void Archon's my favorite model from that whole Archon
Yeah.
range because it's awesome. No legs and swirliness and weird. I really like that it's
very alien.
What god made this thing?
Yeah. Or if a god even made it, right?
It's got some cues. It's got some bits and pieces. It's got like a weird retribution thing.
Convergency kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can go to your local stores this Friday, pick these models up, and go talk to your local store if you'd like to, and make sure they've ordered it or pre-order if you need to, and get it for a later week. And all that should be arriving very, very soon. Speaking of things coming up, we were talking about the next Riot Quest wave, and before we pop the rules up, so Boss McHorn is an upcoming Riot Quest model. In that game, she's a guard and has the ability to sort of throw people around. She also does more damage to people equipped with gear.
She also has +1 melee range.
She's also range 2. Yep.
Person,
and all the Riot Quest models also get Warmachine rules. Well, Tony went ahead and popped it up. So, Tony, I just need you to listen to one thing I say today.
Tony's doing it.
Tony, just one thing.
Tony does what he wants. Tony doesn't listen.
Especially when we get to the CID, just one thing. I love you so much.
We need someone pushing buttons, Tony. So yeah, there's Boss McHorn.
Oh man. So anyway, this is the currently in testing Boss McHorn Warmachine rules. This is not final. We wanted to go with something. So some of the models have been a little bit more involved. Some of them had a little bit more like RNG, like Wendell.
Yep.
Boss McHorn is no nonsense, straightforward, and she has a drive that I don't think anyone ever thought we would do. She has drive dismantle. So Jack Marshals historically are kind of in an interesting place. They have to, because you're adding a Jack to them, they have to have a ton of value to make that Jack worth it over putting that Jack just in a battle group and being able to get focus. Giving any Jack Weapon Master against constructs on all of its attacks, that includes ranged, is
Yeah.
really, really strong. So, she's got combo smite. Her combat capabilities are fine. She
Yeah.
hits hard enough. She's Mat 7, POW 14 with a train strike.
And range 3.
And range 3.
Because she has chain fists.
And she makes 2 of these.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, you'll notice that her attacks are range 3. And she's also got combo smite. So in melee as a Jack Marshal, she's pretty sturdy. She's in the Iron Head armor. So we're looking at 13, 17 with 10 damage boxes. But the main reason you're taking her is to put a Jack on her that you feel that dismantle is going to be viable. Also, let's just say you decide not to put a Jack on her. You're probably going to put a range Jack.
Yeah.
Because range dismantle is incredibly strong. But just by herself, let's say you just take her as a free solo in one of the theme forces, you can get her ass.
Yeah.
And she's just running around and you're facing a War Machine army. You're facing a Convergence army.
Yeah, yeah.
And she runs around charging, 8 inches without buffs, then range 3, so 11-inch threat range with a pair of 14s that are Weapon Master.
Yeah.
Is that worth 6 points? Debatable. There's a lot of other good choices. But throw a Jack on her and use that drive, and that's really strong. Like in regulars, you're going to be getting 46 damage pretty easily, things like that. So that is currently who we're testing. In regulars, you'll have dismantle and flank. But subject to change, though, she's pretty locked in, and she does have the 6 point cost, so she is a heftier solo. So let's talk about the next CID. It's been a while.
Is Tony going to throw an image on this?
Tony, don't press anything yet, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks. I just want to make sure.
It's been a while since we've been a CID.
Yeah. We did a big giant block of models all at once for Infernals and then the Oblivion releases. And we had a lot of questions about this, like when's the next CID? Are you guys ever going to CID anything again? We release CIDs in release blocks. So we test everything that's related to each other if we can, all at once, and then that stuff gets released. And so the more stuff that we test at one time, the less we need a CID for a while.
Yes.
Because we did all of Infernals, and Infernals was 4 or 5 months of releases. Like
it's still
they're
going.
still rolling out. And then all the rest of the Oblivion stuff was a couple of months of releases, and it's still rolling out. So like we got in those 2 CIDs, and then the release schedule was covered for 9 or something months.
Yes.
So the release schedule controls the CID schedule, and we've never seen that as much as this last time.
You know what? It was an appreciated break.
Yeah, and it was a break.
It was good. I mean, we said it before the CID cycles before. We're going too fast. The game was changing too constantly, and this has been a good time off to be able to breathe and catch up and let things start to settle a little bit. So the next CID is the Convergence CID. Tony, put the logo up. Bam!
Anybody that was paying attention during the slideshow saw this logo also.
This CID is starting on November 4th. That is not this week, not next week, but the Monday after.
There's also days before Warfare Weekend.
So let's talk about the why we're doing it there.
Yeah.
So we have Warfare Weekend, obviously, and we're going to be gone for part of that CD, myself and Oz, but there'll be other people from, Souls will be watching it.
Yeah.
But after that, you start to get in the holidays, and we need to do this CID now, but you go into Thanksgiving, and December is a bad month to do CIDs. There's just too much going on. So we have to do it at the start of November. It's just kind of where the chips fell. It'd have been nice to do it a little bit earlier, but again, we've had a lot going on at the office. The office is moving.
We could not have done a CID while we were moving. So that month and a half was just kind of too crazy.
So what we're planning on doing is November 4th, the CID will start.
Which is a Monday, which is a little bit different of a start of the con and stuff.
Yep. It's going to run for probably about 2-ish weeks. It's going to cover the new Convergence stuff, which I'll talk about here in a second, as well as legacy changes. There are some changes we're making, especially to medium-based infantry in Convergence, several of the jacks, as well as one of the legacy casters got us a few small tweaks.
Yeah.
But we are going to test a handful of legacy things overall, and this is kind of going to be Convergence's CID. Next week, what we're going to do on next week's dev chat is we're going to show you all the concept art for all the new models in the CID. We're not going to do a rules coverage like we normally do because it would be a bit early, and there's a few last-minute editing things we want to kind of take care of. So the rules are going to go up on a Monday because we'll be gone, and everyone will see the rules on Monday without there being a dev chat, but you'll know it's coming, and we'll talk about the roles of each model and kind of what we intend to do with them. But I want to talk about storyline, what this is, and then we're going to show you concept art for one of the new models in it, and as I mentioned before, one that no one would have possibly guessed.
Tony's hands are nowhere near your buttons.
Good. I appreciate you, Tony. Don't press that. Tony's just like, ugh.
Put them behind your back, Tony.
So, Infernals is the big storyline right now, and has been for some time. Like the build up to them, and then the release of them. Before I keep going, I just want to say Acrostor just gifted like 6 people subs, and thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Do we know who
Thank you, Acrostor.
Acrostor is in real life?
Not off the top of my head.
It's not Jeff Hanley.
No, it's not Jeff Hanley.
I'm just making sure, because Jeff Hanley's in there, but I didn't know if it was a secondary thing.
The Infernals are the big bad, right? It's been built up for a long time. They're finally here. So if we look at the phases of people trying to stop the Infernals, phase 1 would have been the Old Witch.
Yeah.
The Grimkin, for those of you that aren't familiar with the fluff and the lore, the Grimkin are an army because of the Old Witch. Basically, the Infernals are here to take souls from humanity based on the deal they made a long time ago. And the Old Witch realized that would be super catastrophic. So she unleashed the Grimkin on Cain, with the idea being that the Grimkin come to take twisted souls, come to take wicked souls. They're here to harvest them. And by taking these souls to Urkane and doing all the messed up, terrible things that they do to them, as is visible by the Grimkin army, that would somehow starve out, slow down the arrival of the Infernals. Well,
she was also just hoping they would catch Infernalist, like Gravnoy and Violent Hawk, and she just hoped that the Grimkin being here for real, they would sweep up some of those people that were going to be instrumental in opening the things to the Infernals for real. Yeah.
Right. So that plan didn't work, and now we just have Grimkin. Thanks, Old Witch.
Yeah.
Plan 2, phase 2, would be Order of Illumination and the Archons. Like the gods have sent down the angels. The Order of Illumination has kind of come to the forefront. And this is everyone sort of just like, they're here, let's fight them.
Yeah.
So this is the more traditional, like, get in their face, they're here, let's beat them to death and send them back.
Dropping animosities that have existed for more than 10 years, and just because we have to fight these things, and so we have to be friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going okay, but not great.
It's happening.
So phase 3, plan 3, if you will, is whatever the Convergence is up to. And the Convergence, being the mysterious, weird machine-worshipping cult they are, have a very, very different plan in order to try and deal with the Infernals and what to do about it. And some people have gotten on board with it. People that you would not have normally expected to have joined the cult of Cirrus and team up with them. They're not really going to go work with Menite and Thamorite Archons, and they're not willing to go stand side by side with Order of Illumination, Vigilance, and Gabriel Throne. They see something. They see the big picture. These are your long thinkers, your deep thinkers.
Well, it's also kind of a different picture.
It's a very different picture.
They have their own perspective on everything, and it's not necessarily the same as what the Infernals and the Grimkin and a whole bunch of the normal religions care about.
Yeah. So one of the new characters coming in the Convergence CID, Tony, go ahead and put him up there. Oh, go ahead. The face.
Is it labeled? It's not labeled anywhere. Does anybody know who this is? Can people guess?
We'll give him a second.
I want to see if anybody guesses.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
Somebody said Erisk 3. No.
It is Asphyxius the Sanctified and his Annihilation Servitors.
Yeah, Asphyxius.
So this
Robot Asphyxius.
Robot Death Angel Asphyxius,
Yeah.
who has got himself a brand new shiny machine body from the Convergence of Cirrus. They have built it for him. Now, he is going to be a unit, and though the models are not shown here in the concept art, you could see it in his upper armor.
Yeah.
He comes with, so you know how the Iron Mother puts out Exponent Servitors? He puts out Annihilation Servitors, or as we lovingly called them in playtest, Murder Servitors.
Yeah, they're a little bit like Phantasm Balls. They're just spheres with blades.
Yeah, spheres with blades that come out, and and murders everything. So the Convergence CID, you can just leave that up there, is going to include a lot of new models that you may not have expected to see, a brand new theme force that is going to indicate sort of the strange alliances that have occurred as part of the Convergence plan, as well as some of the legacy models. Now, let's talk about Asphyxius the Sanctified and tell you how weird he is.
Well, he's Asphyxius in a robot angel body.
I mean, rules-wise a little bit.
Weird. Okay, sure.
We're not going to show you everything, but to give you an idea, this is not a Warcaster.
Nope.
This is a Journeyman Warcaster unit.
Yeah, he's not really completely comfortable in this body. He's not used to this at all.
As part of the transition, he has not fully mastered this new robot body. So he's going to be a Focus 5 Journeyman Warcaster with some spells that are very Crixian and some spells that are very Convergency. He's a mercenary with partisan Crix and partisan Convergence.
Yeah.
Because he has built this body and is now trying to work for the forces that have aligned, that are part of Cirrus's new plan.
Yeah.
That may not ally with everyone else's plan, and he's trying to see it put to fruition. So the unit will be him and the Annihilation Servitors that he comes with. One of the cool things is every time an Annihilation Servitor dies during your maintenance phase, you put a new one into play. So like the Servitors are always there.
Yeah, he's popping out new Servitors as they die, and they are murdering people.
And that's
why we called them murder.
They've got Dark Shroud and Murderous and a few other things.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But you're going to see the introduction of expensive Journeymen. And what I mean by that is Asphyxius 4 costs 14 points and has to take a Jack because he's
that's the current playtest status, which is more than likely what we're going to launch CID with.
Yeah.
But
so he costs 14 points and he has to take a Jack like all other Journeymen. But you're getting a lot for 14 points. He does a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
He has an amazing spell list, just base level abilities, auras he provides to other people, and he himself is a murder machine. Like this looks like the robotic Angel of Death.
Yeah.
And he feels like it when he gets into play. You could almost consider this like a battle engine Journeyman. He's on a large base. He's not on a huge base.
Yeah, he's big.
He's on a large base, but the idea is we wanted a Journeyman that we push the points on and then push the rules on.
Yeah.
And made this feel like if you have your traditional Journeyman and then you have your Warcaster, there's definitely a power difference between those two.
Yep.
Gatsby 4 is sort of in the middle because he is Asphyxius. He's one of the most powerful Warcasters in the setting, and the only reason he's sort of a stage down now is because he's in a brand new body. They've built him something he's growing accustomed to using the technology of, but it's still Asphyxius. He's still a badass. And
he also has access to a lot of different warjacks.
Yes. So the cool thing about him is he has a rule that says whenever you play, whichever list you play him in, he can take Crix Jacks, he can take Convergence Jacks, and he can take Merc Jacks.
Yeah.
So you're playing him in a regulars and you feel like you really want, I don't know, a modulator, a monitor.
Whatever.
Some of the new jacks that are coming.
Cankerworm or a Death Ripper.
Yeah, you want to mix it all together. You want to have a modulator, Cankerworm, and a Toro.
Yeah.
In his battle group. He can do that. And that represents part of this very strange alliance that we're seeing come up with the Convergence and mastery over a multitude of different jacks. So let's hit up a couple questions, see what anybody's got to ask, and then we'll wrap things up. I see a lot of irregulars players are very happy.
I also see just a lot of comments of people confirming words we've already said for other people that are asking what we said.
Yeah, and like Chase is saying, Convergence Jacks and Crix. You absolutely can.
Which is why CID exists, is to balance out those kind of out of the ordinary combos that you wouldn't necessarily have ever tested a model for or played a model for, of like, what would happen if I put in a modulator into my Crix army kind of thing. Yeah.
I see a couple people asking what factions he'll work for, and I don't remember off the top of my head every single faction, and so we will wait to talk about that next week.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot more about their current playtest rules without giving them out to people because they still might change, and we don't want pictures of the rules to happen 4 days before the CID starts.
Yes, 'cause
to
that just
confuse
starts the
people.
CID.
But we're going to talk more about their current playtest state next week.
He definitely works for Crix and Convergence because he is a mercenary and he is a partisan Crix and a partisan Convergence. So he works for those two. I think that might be it, but I want to double check just to be sure because I don't want to make sure I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
So we'll hold off for a second because maybe Signar, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Darkness says, can you induct outside of your battle group? You can't. Induction is specifically to other jacks in your battle group. So if you take Convergence jacks with him, that's part of what you have to think about is whether or not you're going to induct throughout your battle group or not.
Merzane asks, so why is the Convergence accepting a Crix person when they kicked Morton Eber out? They kicked Morton Eber out a long time ago.
Yeah, but
The Morton Eber thing was like, I don't know if it was like 100 years ago or something.
It's
but
funny that Morton Eber comes up.
Sure.
Because for Thamorites and Morrowinds, they had never worked. They hated each other.
Yeah.
And then Flames of the Darkness happened, which came to show the desperation that people are feeling because of the Infernals. Like, these are alliances people would have never, ever expected to have happened.
Yeah, and Morton Eber was very much about combining Necro tech and Convergence tech. And Asphyxius is just his soul and robot body, just like everybody else in the Convergence. So there's a lot of different things going on in the background and other things going on in the tabletop rules-wise that will
Yeah. I mean,
don't always necessarily on that.
I can tell you that in the new theme force you're all going to see, Morton Eber is one of the caster options you can take in that one. So she will be working alongside the Convergence and other things because they've made their amends as best they can. I don't think anybody really trusts her, but like,
no, but it's
demons are coming from the sky.
It's very much you have to have allies that at least are going the same direction as you. And Infernals is the opposite of basically everybody that exists in the setting. Because Infernals want to take souls until they control basically all of reality. It's the fear that everybody has, is that if they get enough power, then they change reality and it's their world. They can basically terraform what they control in the outer darkness weird space would happen here. And so that's why the dragons and everybody else in this setting is trying to stop the Infernals. Because even if they don't agree, like the dragons still hate each other, but they don't want reality to change.
Yeah. Somebody asked, what is the name of the new theme? The name of the new theme is Strange Bedfellows.
Basically, yeah, obvious.
So I saw a couple questions pop by. Somebody was asking if Retribution is going to get anything in the CID. This is going to be a completely Convergence CID. So new stuff would be in later blocks, but this block is specifically the Convergence CID and all the new stuff they've got coming, and the legacy models we're changing, which is a handful. But next week we're going to show the concept art of all the new stuff, and let's see, there's a new Warcaster, Asphyxius, a new battle engine,
Yes.
2 new jacks.
2 new warjacks.
I feel like I'm missing something.
There's
new units, a new solo that goes with that unit. There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
What we're going to do next week is we're going to show you the concept art of all the new stuff. Again, we're not going to show the rules because as soon as we show the rules, we know that basically means the CID unofficially starts. So that's going to happen the Monday after. But we're going to show you their concept art, talk a little bit about their rules, and then more importantly, talk about the design intent behind each one, talk about the roles, and then get everybody sort of prepped for CID.
Yeah.
Oh, and we'll show Destructitron 3000 in that. People haven't seen his rules yet.
Sure.
He's particularly.
We haven't previewed the War Machine rules.
People haven't seen they haven't seen his War Machine rules yet,
cool.
so we'll get to that. He particularly works well with a few of these odd jack combinations you can have because he's got the same ability as the Storm Strider for the plus to hit on things nearby against electric damage.
And there are questions in the chat about other faction information. And remember, the release schedule controls everything we ever talk about here, and we don't talk about things that are way, way, way out or subject to change and that kind of stuff. So there could be models for factions coming 6-9 months from now that we're not going to mention because production's getting things ironed out and that's all moving around. So we like to talk about what's soon, and then we like to tease big things like Infernals out farther because those are much more stable and not going to change. Yeah. So you can ask all the questions you want, but we're not probably going to answer those.
David on Facebook, did we deal with the issues on the Convergence forums on the website? Yeah, the forums are up and running. That problem should be addressed now.
Yeah.
And I saw another question I wanted to hit real fast. Is the new Warcaster a new character? Let's tell you that no. No. You're actually going to see part of this being kind of an interesting alliance is you're going to see some characters Nemo's a good example, right? You're going to see some characters as part of this that you probably didn't expect to see. But the new full-on Warcaster is an existing character. And that's all we'll say about that. I think that's all we want to hit. We got most of this stuff. Yeah. We will go more into the concept art next week.
Yeah, and we'll talk about a lot of the stuff that we're going to play test. We're just not going to put the playtest rules out so that people have complete confirmation of what they're going to be, just in case we change them, and so that CID really starts on Monday.
Yep, so again, November 4th for the CID. It'll run about 2 weeks. Come hang out with us next week when we can finally show off all that concept art and talk to you about every new thing. And for the time being, enjoy the weirdness that is Asphyxius the Sanctified and his annihilation servitors. And we will see you all tomorrow for Get Your Paint On with Jordan Lamb at 10 a.m. Pacific. Tony, do you know he's painting? No, you leave the music going.
Sorry, I'm like totally spaced that I wasn't ready for the question. He is painting Lord Deviros.
Lord of Virus?
Yes. We will be painting.
Oh,
Lord
you and
Deviros,
him?
Yeah.
All right. Come join us then, everybody. Later. They can't see that. It's green.
I know. They can see the absence of it. Oh, Starlight.
There you go.